Hello everyone, welcome to Triguma Academy. Today we will discuss our ongoing series ServiceNow HRSD. In this series we will discuss the lecture number 7 which is related to the HR lifecycle events. So in this series we will learn what is the HR lifecycle events, how we can creating the HR events, how we are managing the activity set in the event lifecycle event itself, and how the lifecycle event will be helpful for any organization to automate their human resource work. Okay, so if you still not subscribe my channel, kindly subscribe my channel to get a latest update from our channel from related to ServiceNow and other technologies. And please hit the bell icon and subscribe and share with your friends who wants to learn the ServiceNow. So let's start. So in this series, we will learn, our agenda is what is the HR lifecycle event, what is the definition, how it is useful, then the document of the lifecycle event process, what are the documents of the lifecycle event process, how can we configure the lifecycle events, and the configure HR service along with the lifecycle event. And as usual, at last, we will demonstrate and I will show you how to practically configure the HR lifecycle events and map to the particular HR service. Okay, so what is HR lifecycle events? I am trying to give you trying to explain the definition along with the real time scenario, so that it will be easy to understand the use of the lifecycle events. So the definition, as you can see, the lifecycle events enables you to automate the fulfillment of the HR cases such as new hire onboarding. So on the new hire onboarding, I just mentioned a one HR service, the new hire onboarding. Suppose we have a requirement for, I am working as a ServiceNow HRSD developer in any organization, and that organization has a requirement to automate the hiring process, automate the onboarding process of any new hire employee. So how the life cycle event will help in this, we will uh, explain you in this slide and in our demonstration as well. Okay, so each life cycle event is a collection of activities, okay, that often span multiple departments and are organized into the activity set. To configure a life cycle event, we must need to sure about the document and business process for your event, and we can configure all the supporting component along with the that life cycle. We can configure the life cycle event and its associated activity set and activities as well. Okay, after that we can, along with the corresponding, we can configure the HR service so that the life cycle event can be requested for the particular service. Okay, so this is a definition, but I am telling you in the real time scenario how it is working. Okay, suppose that the organization, in every organization there is a hiring process. Okay, so our request, our HR service is a new hire onboarding. Okay, so in the hire onboarding, when any organization hire any employee, they have a certain pre-boarding task, certain task which they need to be performed before onboard the person. Like there is a first task, the organization need to check the background check, that employee should be a clean background, employee should not belong to the criminal background. Okay, the second task is the check document verification. Third task is like taxation verification with the PAN card and other details. Third point is like we are checking the document we confirmed. Okay, a medical process, so if we want to see the our onboard employee is a medically fit or not, so we will ask the medical reports as well. So there are certain steps which we need to perform, there are certain tasks which we need to perform before hire or before onboard the person. So in this, how the things is going on in human resource delivery in service. Now first we create a one HR service which name is new hire onboarding. Okay, along on this HR service we have created a one life cycle event. Okay, that life cycle event contain the activity task, activity and the activity set. Suppose that activity, what is activity set? Activity set is a collection of steps to perform any action. Okay, there is a certain steps to perform any action. And what is the life cycle event? Life cycle is a event is a collection of activities. Suppose that now, so what we are doing, there is a one HR service that is called a new hire onboarding, that is containing a one life cycle event. That life cycle event is containing the multiple activities. That activities need to be performed before closing or before automating the before completing the HR case. So the now I am concluding the thing. The thing is this: if any person is onboarded and uh, before onboarded, there is certain departments like background verification, document verification, and medical test. So there is a certain different departments needs to give the clean sheet or green sheet for that employee, so that the final offer letter should be released and the appointment will be released for that particular employee, so that we can hire or onboard that particular newly hired employee. So this is the work, this is how the HR life cycle event will help to the organization and automate the work. Okay, I hope it is clear to you. If it's still you have any doubt, you can comment on this video description. I will try to answer your answer, and we will also demonstrate and check how in ServiceNow it is working. Okay, so what is the document of lifecycle event process? Defining the document and the lifecycle event process, generally the cross departmental and require action from different department. As I told you, one is belongs to the background verification department, is a different, medical department is a different, and the PG check department is the different. So we have a different departments and different responsible person who need to share the who needs to require an action of and task to perform the activity on the particular task which is assigned to the or to assign to them. But how these tasks are created, how that these things are happens according to the life cycle event which is defined and which is configured to the particular HR service. Okay, this is the service, this is how the document of the life cycle event process. On this, everyone agree on the flow and their area of responsibility. As you map out a life cycle event, the associated activity set and activities that compromise it, consider who is responsible for owning the activity. As I told you, now there is a different every life cycle event contain activities, multi collection of activities, and that activities is belong to the any particular or the cross departmental action required. So every person is responsible for their own activity, and after that the audience need to give the final output for the task which is assigned to them. Okay, so defining the life cycle event, there are a few questions I just mentioned. What is the life cycle event type? Example of life cycle events include employee onboarding, offboarding, and parental leave. There are different scenario, I just mentioned the few scenario, like where we can use the life cycle event. We can use the onboarding life cycle event, offboarding life cycle event, and the parental leave, maternity leave. There are other few example as well. So like I'm sharing the another example in offboarding. What will happen, suppose that if any person is going to leave the organization, then what is the process? We will take a exit interview. HR will take a exit interview, so we can define an activity set. That one process is the active interview. Third is the final feedback from interview. Fourth activity, as we mentioned in the life cycle event, that the exit party for that employee. Okay, so there are the certain activities we can set under the life cycle event. Okay, now what are the different stage of life cycle event? These stages are represented as activity set which act as a container of the associated activity. Each activity set is triggered based on a specific condition. I will tell you what are the activity set. In the activity set, we have a different condition. So that activity set will trigger on the based of a specific condition. So these are the things I just mentioned. Okay. And the third and the last one, different type of activity set is appropriating owning group or activity type and audience. Like as I told you, in a cross departmental, one department is belong to the background verification, second is the medical. So we have a different departments which needs a require owning action from them. Okay, so now we are moving to the next slide. This is similar like in the activity set we just mentioned. Do we need a approval for any task? Do we need a task for employees? Notification need to trigger and the approval or fulfiller. So there are the few things which we can set under the activity set. It is totally depending upon us how we are configuring the activity set and how we are managing the ServiceNow lifecycle event. Okay, So now this is just for the reference, like I just created in my personal development test, and to show you the demonstration I just created a one example new hire onboarding life cycle event. So I will show you in the demonstration session. I just created this life cycle event for you so that I can show you how it is configured and what is the process to creating it. Okay, this is the onboarding life cycle event that is included. This is also coming, okay, on the demonstration data as well. If you load the demonstration data at the time of the data plugin, okay, but you can configure and create the new one as well according to your requirement. So this is the plugin name, SNHR lifecycle event plugin. This is a paid plugin, guys, okay, but in the personal development instance you can install it, and you can learn from them. But for any organization, this is a paid plugin which you need to install. So the event is organized into the activity sets such as pre-hire, pre-boarding, or a pre-day one, which represent different stages in the lifecycle event. So this is the normal each activity set contain one or more activities, such a task, employee to enroll a medical benefit, as I told you, and the request for the IT fulfill, a lot of things. Okay, so this is how I just put a one screenshot here for your understanding, like how we are managing the life cycle events. So these are the some activities I set, like a pre-hire, pre-boarding, day one, week one, and the day 30s. So in a pre-hire, what are the process? We will create account notification, drug screening, background check, new hire documentation. Pre-boarding, before the boarding the employee, we have a work visa transfer, relocation assistance, complete profile information, medical benefit. Day one, we will check a send welcome email, verify work authorization, set up phone and voicemail. Okay, in a second week, the mail activity set we have set for a first week activity set, complete mandatory training, or at the when the employee will complete 30 days new hire onboarding survey and the hiring manager onboarding survey. So we can define lot of activities and the activity set as per our requirement. Okay, a requirement means as per our organizational structure and organizational needs. Okay, so in this slide, I am just trying to explain how can we configure the lifecycle event. So it's basically as the definition I just mentioned, as its associated activity set and activities with the lifecycle event builder, and defining the event type. So these are the few things. There is nothing special. I will provide you in the this presentation. I will provide you in the description so that you can download from there. Just I'm just showing you what are the basic things which you need to take care while you are configuring the HR service lifecycle. Okay, so there are a few things in this slide I am showing you how we can configure the lifecycle event and associated with the HR service. So HR service, I hope you already know the request and assistance of any organization provided its employee, and they are the starting point for HR case creation. You must create an HR service for a lifecycle event. So these are the few fields like fulfillment type, lifecycle event type, and the COE structure of the HR lifecycle. Okay, so this is the how you can see the configure HR lifecycle event uh, with the lifecycle event. So at the last you can see the red highlighted one lifecycle event is a one separate thing which will be visible here, so you can use that. Okay, so thank you so much for the theoretical session, and now we will start our demonstration session on this. Okay, thank you guys. So friends, this is my personal development instance. I am on my PDI. So now we will demonstrate our HR lifecycle events, how the HR lifecycle events will useful for any organization. To work on the lifecycle events, you need to install the plugin HR lifecycle event plugin from the on your personal development instance. From the section of the plugin, you need to install, you need to check and go there. Okay, let me show you how can you. So you need to go in the system definition. Under the system definition, you found a plugin. You can install that plugin which I told you in our theoretical session, and I'm also mentioned the name in the slide. Just copy and paste, and you can install that plugin. After the installation of plugin, you will be eligible to see the lifecycle events. See, this is the lifecycle events module will be enabled for you. Okay, so in this session we will learn how to create the lifecycle events. What are the lifecycle events type I have created, what are the properties, and how can we manage the lifecycle events, and how can we associate that event to the HR service. So this is our main agenda of our today's session. Okay, so after when the event this application will be visible to you after the installation of plugin, you need to click on the manage lifecycle events. So when you click on the manage lifecycle events, I already told you for the demonstration purpose I have already created a one new hire onboarding demonstration for your reference. So I am opening this to show you how we are creating the and how we are managing the things. So this is the life cycle event which I have created for my own purpose, life cycle onboarding, so that I can demonstrate you. Okay, this is under the life cycle event enterprises application, but this is the current application is a life cycle event. Okay, so this is the event type is the onboarding, and you can see here the activity set. I have added some activity set. So see, these are the activity set. Let me move here, then you can see. So I have mentioned the pre-hire. Okay, in the pre-hire, see, first I will show you how many activity set I have added. In I have added the 5-6 activity set. First is the pre-hire, second is the pre-boarding, third one is the day one, and fourth is the week one, and day 30, and the condition with event with BR demo. This is nothing, you can ignore it. Okay, so these are the 4-5 things I have, the 4-5 activity set I have created. Under the activity set, as I told you, what is activity set? The collection of the activities. Okay, so under the pre-hire, what I have created, I have created 4-5 activities, like pre-hire open for request one activity. This is a request. Second is the subject person request. Third is the account notification, drug screening, background check, and the new hire documentation. So these are, before hiring someone, I need to check these basic things. Okay, so if I click here, and I can show you, not here actually, I need to first click here, then I'm able to change it. See, okay, see, now I want to see open for request. If I want to edit this, then I can see. If I, this is the request, change in the start date, employee request, these are coming from the life cycle events type. Okay, so we can create, suppose that I want to add new activity in this, then I can create here and the click new. I will show you how many activities we have. This is the table I am just copying, and to show you how, no, on the same I will show you. This is the table where we can, this is the employee request table where we can create our the activity set and associated with the HR service. See, this associated with the HR service, and this associated with the catalog item. So it is depending upon us how we are associating the activities with the life cycle events. Okay, so I hope it is clear to you how you are creating. For the demonstration purpose, I am again going to create a one new, so that it will be understandable to you. Okay, I need to click on the manage lifecycle events. There is currently the new hire onboarding is available, but I am creating new so that you can understand. Okay, in the new lifecycle event, I just mention the name. I am giving the, suppose that offboarding. I have created this life cycle event is for offboarding. Okay, I just